Okay, round two. This also is about the Christian demons. Millions of these creatures have been loosed out of some hell portal over the past several decades, and they are running rampant across the country. Wisconsin, for example. Back in April, the Christian demons in that country, or in that state, got a real ass-kicking when a progressive judge named Janet Protasiewicz, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, she won the election to fill the open seat on the state Supreme Court. And that gave progressives, Democrats, common sense people in that state, all of a sudden a 4-3 majority. Liberals, progressives. And in that political race, the Christian demon candidate lost by 11 points, which in Wisconsin is a virtual landslide. And that election result should have removed their appetite for radical gerrymandering in that state and their 19th century abortion ban, both of which were pushed to the center of this election back in April. And everybody in Wisconsin knew it, that the Christian demons were pushing this 19th century abortion ban and the ability to continue to gerrymander the state so that Democrats did not have a chance. Everybody knew it. And yet, the Christian demons lost. However, now the Christian demons in the Wisconsin legislature are threatening to countermand the voters' choice and send the state of Wisconsin toward a constitutional standoff. I mentioned this the other day. These filthy Christian demons in Wisconsin are openly talking about impeaching Justice Protasiewicz before she's heard a single case. This is how destructive. Please understand this. I know you do. But this is how destructive these Christian demons are. They don't give a goddamn about the rule of law, the will of the people, the state or the federal constitutions in the states where they live. Nothing. A woman's right to sovereignty over her own body, a person's right to live in the gender identity that they become. No. None of that. They're terrible fucking people. Terrible. Demons. Now, in this case, in Wisconsin, the assembly speaker is a Christian demon of the highest order. His name is Robin Vos. I don't know if that's a man or woman. But under their leadership, the Christian demons are accusing the new Supreme Court justice of, quote, prejudging, in her head. She hasn't heard a case yet. But the demons want everyone in the state of Wisconsin to accept the fact that they, because they're demons, right out of hell, they have extraordinary power given to them by Satan. Am I pushing this too far? And therefore, they know what's in Justice Protasiewicz's mind. She is prejudging redistricting cases that are pending before the Supreme Court because of comments she made during her campaign. But that's just more Christian demon bullshit. The Associated Press took a look at every word she said during the campaign. And the Associated Press reported, quote, she never promised to rule one way or another, end quote. Although she did, as any normal human being could have done, Supreme Court justice or gas station jockey, anyone with enough sense to be able to look at a map could figure out that the lines dividing up the state of Wisconsin were unfair and rigged. Oh, and you better sit down for this one, unless, well, maybe you won't laugh. I thought this was hysterically funny. The Christian doubles in Wisconsin also claim she's got to recuse herself from all these cases because she accepted money from the Democratic Party. Oh, no. Oh, God. For her part, the justice has promised to do that. She will recuse herself in any case in which the Democratic Party is a litigant. In the redistricting case, the Democratic Party is not a litigant. But once again, facts, truth, reality mean nothing to Christian doubles. Now, usually, to most Christians, one of the hardest struggles I had when I was a Christian, well, I was considered a Christian. One of the biggest struggles I had, and it started early on in my life, was how to square the idea of creatures living in the sky, dead people, invisible dead people, and this huge, invisible, monstrous God that had the power to destroy anything and everything, children, babies, animals, just a vengeful, rotten, sick, fucked up deity. That's what I was taught. And I had to try to figure out at a very young age how to, well, square that with science and reality and physics. Well, you know, what little I knew. And it wouldn't compute. Even when I was a little kid. But I kept trying. Oh, goddamn. Even into my early teen years, I kept trying. Well, there's got to be an answer. There's got to be an answer. Well, there is an answer. Religion is horseshit. There's your answer. I mean, it's just crapola of the highest order. And as I mentioned a lot of times, you know this already because you understand history, when religion gets involved in politics, there's only one guarantee: blood, fucking trainloads of blood, ankle deep blood, severed heads, broken limbs, corpses, on and on, torture, madness, insanity, fangs, death. That's the outcome when religion gets involved in politics. Now, it's on hold. That terrible stuff right now is on hold. But if these Christian doubles get control, the kind of control they want, the blood will begin flowing. Now, the Christian doubles in the Wisconsin legislature have threatened to move forward with this impeachment bullshit unless the new justice recuses herself from the case challenging the lines that the Christian doubles wrote for the redistricting lines that practically eliminates the Democrat candidate's chance to become elected to the U.S. Congress. Now, the truth is, Wisconsin law limits impeachment to causes or cases of corruption or the commission of a crime. That's it. Neither of those things have happened with Justice Protasiewicz. Nothing. That applies to Donald Trump, who the Wisconsin Christian doubles worship, but that's a different story. So, since the requirements for impeachment of this justice do not exist, what the Christian doubles are doing in the Wisconsin legislature would be a blatant misuse of their Constitution, on which they have dumped all kinds of spittle and vomit and urine. They don't give a shit about the state constitution. It would also be a usurpation of judicial powers in that state and a violation of the separation of powers. In other words, to a rational person, the Christian doubles in Wisconsin would accomplish a grand slam home run where it concerns violating the law. All law in Wisconsin, every last goddamn drop of law would be violated by their proceeding with this impeachment bullshit. And according to Jennifer Rubin at the Washington Post, here's the kicker. If the Wisconsin Assembly moves to impeach her, she will be automatically disqualified from ruling until the Wisconsin State Senate trial, even though there's no evidence of anything that would have brought about impeachment to begin with. And Jennifer goes on, making this all the more reprehensible. CNN reported, quote, Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu, a Republican, has said the chamber would not consider acting on Protasiewicz. If the Senate does nothing, that's the end of the quote, if the Senate does nothing after filing these articles of impeachment, which disqualify her from sitting on the bench, if they do nothing, then the court would be deadlocked 3-3. However, as CNN reported, quote, if the Assembly votes to impeach the justice and the Senate were to convict and remove her from office, the Democratic governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, would appoint her replacement. End quote, CNN. Talk about madness. Now, parenthetically, Jennifer adds, if she is removed and the governor appoints a replacement before December 1st, that justice would be up for re-election on the Republican presidential primary day in April, when the turnout for Christian devils will be at its highest. Jennifer doesn't use the term Christian devils. That was my term. She says the GOP turnout would be at its highest. Now, here's a kind of a kick in the groin to these Christian devils. And, 99.9% of them are white men. So when they get a kick in the groin, it's right in the balls. I mean, let's call it what it is. Well, in kind of a kick to the balls, a state judiciary disciplinary panel, after reviewing, quote, her comments, the Judicial Code of Ethics, the state Supreme Court rules, and relevant decisions by the state and U.S. Supreme Courts, we reject several complaints lodged against Justice Protasiewicz that allege she violated the Judicial Code of Ethics for comments she made during the campaign, end quote. So there you have it. The state judiciary disciplinary panel said something that's meaningless to Christian devils, and that is this. There is no there. Now, that applies to their whole fucked up religion, but it certainly applies to this. She hasn't done anything except during the campaign made a couple of absolutely correct comments that the lines gerrymandered by the Republicans in the Wisconsin legislature were, what did she call them? She said they were rigged and unfair. Oh my God. So, now interestingly, this state judiciary disciplinary panel cited a federal case in Wisconsin that, quote, ruled there is a distinction between a candidate stating personal views during a campaign and making a pledge, promise, or commitment to ruling in a certain way, end quote. Well, no kidding. Aren't these Christian demons the first and the loudest to scream about their right to free speech? Huh? Doesn't their Messiah, Donald asshole Trump, isn't that what he is always screeching and belching and farting? Free speech, free speech. Well, the state judiciary disciplinary panel in Wisconsin more or less said, hey, look, there is a distinction between a candidate stating personal views during a campaign and making a pledge or promise to rule in a certain way in a case that may or may not come in front of her. It doesn't matter. Indeed, as the New York Times reported, Republican justices have said comments comparing homosexuality to bestiality and calling Planned Parenthood a wicked organization, such as those comments made by a Christian devil on the Wisconsin Supreme Court named Brian Hagedorn. They don't require recusal in gay rights and abortion matters. Brian Hagedorn. Homosexuality is bestiality, according to this fuckhead. And Planned Parenthood is, quote, a wicked organization, according to this, excuse me, but I'm very pissed off, according to this fuckhead. Brian Hagedorn. Hagedorn. Sounds like some character out of Harry Potter. And again, parenthetically, Jennifer notes, quote, it is also noteworthy that Wisconsin Republicans have repeatedly rejected efforts to set recusal standards, leaving the decision to the justice's discretion. Kind of like the U.S. Supreme Court, right? So the case against Justice Protasiewicz is, first and foremost, utter bullshit. But even worse, the charges against her by these Christian devils that are loose in Wisconsin, the charges against her don't exist anywhere. Not in her behavior, not in the state constitution, not with decisions made by the state judiciary disciplinary panel. They don't exist. But then every fucking thing about Christianity is imaginary, made-up bullshit to begin with. So there is nothing unusual or different or surprising that these Christian demons are trying to get rid of this particular Supreme Court justice by making shit up. Oh my God. So why am I acting so surprised? I don't know. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.